Welcome, everybody, to talk about Thetan Arena with two powerful game designers / product managers / cryptomaniacs. First and foremost, we have Javier Barnes, design and product extraordinaire, also known as the Sergio Ramos of gaming. Though I'm incredibly dissatisfied that you have shaved. Like this is. I don't know how do I feel about this anymore. So
it will grow back. Don't worry. But I had to cosplay with my girlfriend today. So
interesting. That's a different podcast. That's a different podcast.
Is she going to be Maeve or Starlight?
Starlight.
Yeah.
She's doing Starlight.
Yeah. So for folks who haven't seen Javier, and your picture always is the pixelated one. But you are tatted up down to fingers. Like, think about the most bad boy Spaniard you can imagine in your dreams. That is Javier Barnes. So,
what a description!
with a scruffy beard, living in Barcelona, drinking sangria and eating pinchos.
And I know about games a little bit as well.
Yeah, and then we go to Ethan, aka the crypto kid, Levy. God damn it!
You got it right the first time.
You did? Yeah. Because I'm self-doubting.
Now you're self-doubting.
Self-conscious.
Let's just take Levy. We'll just call me eth.an from now on.
Oh, no. We're not going to do that. Ethan, executive producer on highly, can I say, incredibly anticipated, legendary Heroes Unchained game, coming to all the cryptomaniacs in your crypto wallets. Like, you got to collect all these heroes. So everybody who loves crypto will be on it, and everybody who loves free to play and has played legendary Game of Heroes will be on this game. So highly anticipated. When is it coming out, Ethan?
Not announced yet.
Not announced yet, but anytime soon you'll be able to invest thousands of dollars before this game even launches, so you can see any images of it.
We'll in the current go-to-market plan, we'll have something playable in a really interesting way before we put anything on sale.
Interesting.
Anyways,
but you're gonna make a bank before anybody plays it, right?
We'll see. Hopefully.
Yeah. That's the way these games work.
Yeah. Javier, it's really great to. I feel like I know you, even though we're just actually meeting for the first time right now. But I've been following your work. It's okay. I've been following your work for a long time, and really impressed that you put out an indie game recently. I just bought it. Can you remind me the name of it?
The song Out of Space. Yeah. It was kind of a small thing, but it was super cool. I learned a lot of things about indie publishing and publishing on console, which is its own, like, just interacting with the stores were super didactic. So really, really cool stuff. I need to write about that.
Yeah. I feel like you're out there.
Maybe in the future.
I feel like you're out there living my best life. Like, you're out there cosplaying as Homelander with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Releasing games you built yourself on the Switch and PC and PS5, and it's just awesome. Everyone should go buy it. Support your friend Javier.
Ethan also living in the sexy Barcelona, the gaming hub of Europe. Everything is going to Javier's direction. It's just us two boring dads here in the outskirts of the world, just living through Javier.
Stop messing with me. Ethan, I've been following your work. I was really impressed on the Tokenomics podcast. You're really, really knowledgeable. That's actually one of the things that excited me about being able to collaborate with you in an article, right? Because I would say you're probably a true master of the sword of the crypto, and I'm more like a fan and a person that is using perhaps a more regular repertoire of tools to analyze it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
you say all this, and when people see the article, Javier did the much more impressive part of it. It was pretty cool. We should actually get to it, right?
Yeah. So references to the article, like most of the people who are listening, or at least half of the people who are currently listening, have either read it or are in between reading it or are planning to read the article that the two of you wrote about Thetan Arena. And just as a lead-in, Wolf Fun what a great name, from Vietnam, breathed a new life into its top-down MOBA brawler called Hero Strike by relaunching this game as a blockchain-based play-to-earn mechanics Thetan Arena. So this is a fascinating case study that you guys did, because we're talking about experienced free-to-play developers, and this was a free-to-play game that was first called Heroes of the Strike that ran for years. Didn't quite scale up. We're going to talk about it a little bit later. But nevertheless, was fully finished in terms of gameplay and market standard levels of quality. It had an in-app purchase source of income that is currently still there, but is fully unrelated to the blockchain revenue. And most importantly, it has a years-long history as a standard free-to-play game that you guys used as a benchmark when analyzing how the blockchain version of this game performs. So overall, this is a case of a free-to-play blockchain game, and this type of a thesis have been thrown around by some of the VCs. Like, this could be the way to move forward. Like, you have the accessibility of the free-to-play game, and then you have the blockchain layer from the true fans and the crypto bros to engage and drop some Ethereum or Solana or whatever you're using on it. So to kick it off, Hero Strike to me looks like Brawl Stars. What are the main differences between those games, just looking at just a pure core gameplay?
I mean, one of the key differences is the fact that in Brawl Stars the skills belong to the brawler and they cannot be exchanged, while in Heroes Strike only one of the skills belongs to the character. The other two skills are exchangeable between the characters, which allows to generate some OP combos. They also have this mechanic that makes that the abilities scale up, so they upgrade during the match, which Brawl Stars doesn't have, but comes from games like League of Legends. I would say when it comes to gameplay, those would be the two main differences that strike the most to me. Not sure if Ethan has...
I haven't played Brawl Stars since launch, really, so I don't have too clear of a memory of it, but I think just that idea of transportable skills is really interesting and one worth thinking about if you're doing an NFT game, because what that allows for is if you bought a hero for $800 and you can move skills you've already leveled up onto it, it makes that more valuable right away. Like, it would be kind of a disappointment to start with an $800 character and then like not feel like you're as powerful as something else that you've been investing in for a while. So definitely an interesting choice. Definitely makes things harder to balance, as you said, with some OP combinations. I definitely didn't play enough to figure out what the right skills for my hero were.
At least in my opinion, when it comes to a game that is so gameplay intensive, I would be super scared of having the ability of switch skills like that. I think that it can make more sense for a game that has a bigger collection component, and maybe that the gameplay is more abstracted, like an RPG or a breathing game or something that has like more a layer of collection maybe. But on a game like Brawl Stars, if it just like it actually happens in Heroes Strike and Thetan Arena. There are some combinations that are OP, and the developers have removed a lot of the options that they have in order to limit them. So it makes it difficult to make shine specific characters and so on. I feel that in that regard, if the developers have more the control on the gameplay, it works better. But to be honest, I don't think the relevant point of Heroes Strike are these changes.
Yeah,
I don't think they generate like a completely different experience.
So if
we consider,
if you're listening and you haven't played yet, just imagine we're talking about Brawl Stars with NFTs, and you understand the game 98%, basically.
So can we talk about how Hero Strike performed before crypto was put in? It wasn't a successful game, right?
No, it wasn't. I mean, I don't know what they were their expectations, and maybe the performance was good for their expectations.
No,
but
I
it's
doubt
really
it.
it's a very low game. I think it was making like $500 per day, something like that. Like really something that doesn't allow the game to scale, and it was kind of a super niche. Not even second layer follower of Brawl Stars. I would say it's like the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. It's. I mean, it has been impossible to compete against Brawl Stars in this category. They've pretty much owned it, and even when you consider that game, despite how big it is and how powerful Brawl Stars has been, it has had some challenges to hold on to its position. In many countries it declined. For example, last year and even the previous year, it would have probably declined a little bit without the China launch. So it has been kind of like popping in different geos, but then not maybe holding its top position, kind of like lowering a little bit.
I think what is interesting here is, at least in my opinion, but I would also be interested in knowing what Ethan thinks, is that the Heroes Strike and Thetan Arena, when it comes to gameplay, they're pretty decent games. I mean, the difference with Brawl Stars when it comes to revenue is not justified by the difference in quality, because although, of course, Brawl Stars is a much better game, it's not. The difference is not as big to justify such a big difference when it comes to revenue. I think that the key power here and the key thing to understand with this is that Brawl Stars has a huge brand power, has the ability to put the game in front of the eyes of the consumer, and what Heroes Strike maybe was missing is, okay, it was a fun game, perhaps not as good as Brawl Stars, but it didn't have the capacity to put itself in front of the eyes of the consumers, because they were not making enough revenue from the users to be able to enter into the user acquisition game.
Yeah, and same type of brand building and same type of like big campaigns that Brawl Stars have been doing, and top of the funnel campaigns mainly. Yeah.
And I would.
Go ahead, Ethan.
I would agree that part of what makes Thetan Arena so unique in the blockchain space is that it is like a full, fun, playable game. Like you play it, it's great. It's got good multiplayer, quick matchmaking. Like fully featured. A lot of games that get a lot of ink spilled about them or have me talk about them on podcasts aren't really even games yet, right? Like a lot of these things that are out there topping DApp radar charts for sales volume or token volume might be just a website where you stake your NFT and they call that a quest and that's it, right? Like compared to where most of the space is, by taking an existing game and rebranding it, they have one of the most fully featured blockchain games on the market, and that's what I think makes it. Like, there are two parts that make it a really, two reasons it's a really interesting case study for the audience of Deconstructor of Fun, right? One is, like, it's a fully featured game, so it's not like, it's not...
a scam.
It doesn't have that same, well, this is just a scam, it's not even a game yet feeling to it. And the other is that it might be a really valid way for other developers to take use of their code base, basically, right? They cloned the game, renamed it. Did they change the hero art?
No, it's the same hero art.
Got it. So that's just imagine you could take one of your games, rebrand it, make some changes to allow for blockchain, and see more success. Like, that's what they've done. So it's really interesting what they've done, and they have a real game. And one of my biggest takeaways was like, oh, this is a fun game. Like, I like playing Thetan Arena. It's great. I'm not good at it, but...
Well, let's get to the most important part. How much are they making in blockchain magic money revenue?
Right, this was really impressive. We were supposed to write like a 1,000-word article, and Javier went above
Javier
and beyond.
he fools you on this. Like, he gets everybody on this. Like, let's just write a little couple of notes on it, something, and then it's like 3-month book.
Okay. Yeah. Well, when it comes, thank you for the praises. But when it comes to this game, I think that it's also important to frame it correctly, because the game, it's not top 100 material. It's not making millions per day. We're not talking about that type of product.
Yeah,
I think the numbers are really impressive if we are thinking where they were coming from, right?
This would not be for you at King or me at Network. This would probably not be a big enough success yet.
Absolutely,
but for a small team in Vietnam, this is what they've accomplished is pretty amazing.
Especially considering what they were making before. So, just to give a few numbers, and I'm sitting on my head from the top of my head, they're making about 20K per day just in IAP. So that's actual money. It's not magic internet money. It's
so they're making more in-app purchases than they were before they added crypto.
A huge increment, because they went from making $500 per day to making 20K. Like, huge. And then when it comes to the blockchain revenue, and maybe here we will have discussion, it really depends on how you take it in account. In the article, there's a breakdown of what they have collected. There's a couple of things that I wasn't able to data mine, but I think it's a pretty good indicator of how much they've made. And what I estimate is that they have made about 75% of their total money with blockchain. Then we can enter in discussion, because when it comes to the money that they have made on the blockchain, they have obtained it in different currencies, and I feel that the revenue that they have obtained on BNB, I feel that it can be translated more easily into actual revenue, because even if they sell the totality of their BNB, they won't affect the price of BNB. They just don't have enough BNB to affect the market cap of the coin. I'm not entirely sure with their own native coins. I actually think that they won't be able to sell, and they won't be able to monetize their own currency. I think that their own currency, I would debate that it's actual revenue, but I know that Ethan thinks differently.
Well, yeah. So first, let's just break it down. What are the inflows of tokens? So the game has it's a Brawl Stars like MOBA. In the game, you can buy gacha to get premium heroes, just like a standard game. What are the inflows of tokens into the company treasury? Right, because I think this is kind of worth just breaking down how token can turn into fiat revenue for developers.
Sure. So, you want to go on that, or?
Yeah, I'll try and get some of them, and then correct me if I'm wrong. So, there's on their website, you can buy gacha for tokens, or you can buy heroes for tokens from other players. So if let me actually check. So for gacha, they accept BNB, which is the Binance token, and then they also accept, I think for everything on the marketplace, they accept BNB, and then they also accept their in-game currency THG. Or not in-game, their game one of their 2 game tokens, right? So if somebody buys the gacha, 100% of that token then goes into the treasury for the team. And then on the marketplace, if a player lists their NFT, again, those 2 tokens are accepted, and some percentage of that token, maybe it's 5 or 10%, goes to the developer treasury, And then there's actually a third thing that I discovered after we wrote the article, which is you earn your token in-game, and then you have to claim it to transfer it to your wallet, and there's actually a tax at the moment that you claim it. And that's probably actually a gas fee. So for when they sell IAP, the money goes to Apple. Some number of days later, Apple sends them 70% of the money, right? Or Google. When they take these token inflows, those go into a treasury, and they can choose when they turn that treasury asset into revenue, right? In my mental model, it's not revenue yet, it's treasury holding. So part of what Javier is saying is that when they get the Binance token, that token has a huge amount of trading volume every day. So they could sell their Binance token instantly and never affect the price of the Binance token, and just always turn that into USD and be happy with it. With the tokens that are their 2 game tokens, if they sold 10% of the trading volume in one day, it would naturally depress the price of that token, because there's not nearly as much volume as a general purpose token like BNB. So part of the skill that I think a lot of developers are going to have to learn over time is when and how to turn their treasury holdings, especially of their game tokens, into actual revenue. And I think there's going to be an art to it, right? Like, I could imagine one team having a policy that's like, we're going to sell 1% of our trading volume every day. No matter, whatever the trading volume is, we'll peg off that. We'll sell a small amount. We won't affect the price, and we'll just have a steady drip of dollars coming in. Then I could see a second version where, we've all been at venture-funded startups where you have to, show the bars increasing in size over time. So I could imagine being in a position where, you make IAP revenue all month, and at the end of the month you're like, well, to show the exact height of this month we want to make $800,000. We've made $712,000 in IAP revenue, so let's go make up the difference by selling our treasury holdings. It's going to be really interesting, right?
How does that work? Do you when you make magic crypto money? Are you making that magic crypto money, or do you have to turn it into fiat? How does that work?
Yeah, so one of the challenges with crypto is that you have to go through regulated on-ramp and off-ramp. Mm-hmm. So if I have, whether I'm the player or the company, if I want to turn my game token into fiat currency, it looks like the same process. So probably I have an account with Kraken or Coinbase or one of the Binance, one of the regulated exchanges. And so on the exchange, there's probably a trading pair like Ethan's game token for Binance token. And so if I want to make USD, I would, because Binance probably won't allow me to sell Ethan's game token for USD directly, but I can sell Ethan's Binance token for USD directly. So I would probably trade my token for Binance token and then sell that Binance token for USD and then initiate a transfer to my bank account. So that's what the
off-ramp looks like. Would you do that at the end of the month? Would you do that at the end of the month, or do you how much do you have to? Because the values fluctuate so much,
right?
Do you how strategic do you have to be with that?
I think it depends, what your objectives are. I think if I were running Thetan Arena, I would probably do that thing of saying every day we trade 1% of our 1% of the trading, up to 1% of the trading volume for Binance token, and then we have somebody whose job it is to monitor the price of Binance token and sell our Binance token. The easiest thing to do is just sell it every day, dollar cost average, or you could, we're all experienced in having analytics. You could have somebody who's monitoring the price and like serving as an in-house trader to maximize your revenue.
So you need to have a back office for your game.
Maybe. Yeah, you could do it that way. I suspect that just if you think about your time resources, that for a lot of studios, just having a policy and selling every day is going to result in a pretty good, like, just close to the best return without driving you insane and distracting you from your core mission, which is developing a great game.
One thing that is interesting in this regard, and just to point out something, is the fact that actually they don't allow you to pay on BNB anymore.
Okay.
So now they probably to sustain the value of their token, because now if you could pay with their token or you could pay with BNB, then that was devaluating their token. They removed the BNB, but actually what I wanted to point out is that in reality they don't even have to move their crypto revenue, because they have an inflow that is IAP. They can afford on just live out of the IAP, which is a pretty decent revenue in their case, and use their crypto revenue to foster more their audience. Especially when it comes to their native tokens, I think that the biggest difference between the BNB and their native tokens is that if they sell the native tokens, they are going to trigger a lot of alerts among players, because you're telling the players, hey, buy my token and hold it, but I'm going to not hold it. I'm going to be getting out constantly, and that it's a kind of double standard, right? So I think that one cool thing that with Thetan they have afforded is that through the blockchain they have brought players in, and those players are interacting within the blockchain ecosystem, but in reality Wolf Fund doesn't really need to extract value out of that ecosystem, because they can profit directly from the IAP.
Yeah, this was one of the most insightful findings in Javier's part of the article, which was that the revenue per user between the blockchain version of the game and the not blockchain version of the game was relatively the same. But the total revenue was much higher because Thetan Arena has a lot more users than Hero Strike. And what's super interesting about it is that you could expect, and you did a whole analysis of country mix as well, that 60% of the players were Philippines, Venezuela, and like tier 2, tier 3 countries is where the majority of the players are. So the revenue per user is holding, even though we could guess that the user quality might be lower than than the previous game. So simply, if you even just think of the blockchain parts of Thetan Arena as a marketing mechanic, it lifted their revenue. Their IAP, they left the IAP in. IAP revenue for users is pretty steady, but they increased the total pie by bringing more people in.
So, question about that: how did the country mix change with the move from Hero Strike to Thetan Arena, and more importantly, how many downloads that they got as Thetan Arena versus Hero Strike? Like, is it the rise of revenue per player, or is it the rise of just getting much more players through this blockchain hype?
So when it comes to let me break down the question.
No worries. Like, is there more downloads, or?
Long story short, they got a significantly higher amount of downloads. In about 3 years of life, they got in Heroes Strike almost not even 4 million, but in just 2 months they have obtained 10 million of downloads with Thetan Arena. So the play to earn, the whole play to earn angle brought in. It was an excellent marketing move. It brought in a lot of downloads, and gave them a lot of visibility. Sorry.
I'm looking at your charts, and one thing other developers will say when I talk about blockchain games, or actually they'll be like, yeah, but everybody's in Brazil and Philippines and Venezuela and Vietnam. Are these even players that you want? And one of your findings was not only is Brazil the top country by downloads, it's the top country by IAP revenue. 39% of the IAP revenue estimated by Sensor Tower is coming from Brazil. More
That's
than
nice.
United States, and Philippines, Thailand are 3 and 4. So it's just been very healthy for the game to have added all this blockchain stuff.
I think, and I think also one thing that was a bit surprising to me, because my first point of view would be, it's bringing so many people because they are purely earners, and we're seeing money getting into the game, but they are going to take it out at some point.
Yeah.
And people is going to cry. And actually, what was very interesting is that to see that most of the IAP purchases are on products that have zero value for blockchain or for earnings, like cosmetics.
Right.
A lot of the IP revenue is generated by cosmetics that does not give you any advantage on the matches. So it kind of seems to me that through the premise of being able to earn a little bit of revenue, they attracted a lot of players, which then enjoyed the game. They discovered that it was a cool game, and then they decided to spend on that game for just fun purposes.
Yeah.
Which I feel it's kind of interesting, and actually I feel maybe it highlights something that is interesting, about this new model, although I'm not as bullish about blockchain game as maybe Ethan. But I find that the classic free-to-play model, it's very dolphin and whale-oriented. It's actually whale-oriented and dolphin-oriented at best. And that leaves out a lot of players. No? It leaves out minnows, and we usually treat minnows as just the means to provide content to payers, or to eventually nurture them into becoming higher degree paying users. And that means that even we say like tier 1 countries, and then tier 2, tier 3. It means we're not that much interested on those countries, because we're targeting the countries that have the high spending users. And I think that perhaps in this model it can allow us to target and to attract and monetize players that are currently outside of that system, even in their local variants. There are a lot of regional games that work very well in tier 2, tier 3 countries, but they are still targeting the dolphins and the whales. I find interesting the fact that this game has been able to monetize audiences that other games would have maybe dismissed.
Yeah.
Got it. And can we start talking about the practical implementation of play to earn mechanics and NFTs in this game? Like how are you able to make bank? That's what I'm really interested in. What do I need to do to sell my stuff on OpenSea and get quick rich?
Sure. So let me talk about how their play to earn is implemented. So there's 2 types of heroes in the game, right? There are ones you can buy for IAP, and there are ones you can buy as NFTs. Not all heroes are NFTs. And only those heroes that you buy as NFTs have the ability to earn tokens. So if I buy a hero on the marketplace, it has some limit of premium battles it can play per day, or token battles it can play per day. I think it's 12. So if I buy an NFT hero, my first 12 battles of the day are the ones where I can earn the native game token, which is there are 2 tokens, but one GTHC is what it's called. So I buy a hero, and there are 2 interesting things to it. One is it has a lifetime limit, the NFT. So the NFT is only valuable for, like, in the example I wrote about in the article, it's like 800 battles. So you can see on the marketplace, like, there'll be an NFT that has 200 of its 800 token battles used up. So it's interesting that there's an expiration date to the value of the NFT, and that is one of the things that was an interesting experiment, but I don't think it's working, really. And then the second is that there is a number of battles per day where you have the potential to earn the token. So in my first 12 battles of the day, based on what my final position is and my rarity of my NFT hero, determines my output in game tokens. In addition, they have a battle pass-like mechanic where whether you're using premium or non-premium heroes, you can accrue some token to your account as you complete challenges. But I think the main one is that daily token revenue. And if you read my half of the article, I didn't spend $800 on an NFT, even though I'm totally willing to. I spent $800 yesterday on Jam City's Prime Eternal for Champions Ascension. Hopefully that.
How does your NFT wallet look like now? Are you on a plus or a minus, or is it still the educational?
I mean, I still look at it as all like this is just me trying to figure out the space. I have kind of a budget I set for myself, and if I lose that budget, it's fine. But I will tell you that the market that the token and NFT market is generally down more than stocks, and it's it's a little painful if you look at it as an investment.
So no college for the kids.
As I said, that's a separate account. I have a very set don't get yelled at budget. That if I lose this amount of money, I won't get yelled at or divorced.
Okay.
But okay, so Thetan Arena, you have to buy an NFT hero. You can buy them in a gacha for a random chance at a hero, and the more you spend, the higher rarity it is. Or you can buy a specific hero off another player on the marketplace, and then that hero allows you to earn for a set number of matches per day if you are good enough. And so basically what I did was I bought a premium hero. I bought an IAP hero. I found the equivalent hero on the marketplace, and at that time it had a price of about $800. And then I played 24 matches and cataloged what my earn rate would have been had I been using that hero, and just like assumed that over the next 50 days my skill level wouldn't really increase that much. And so for me, the way I was playing, I was winning game token maybe 54 or 60% of the time, but also I was essentially spending token every time I played. Because once I get to the end of those 800 matches, my NFT actually has 0 value. Because it can no longer earn game token. The purpose.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So NFTs can earn a certain amount of tokens. After that,
they can earn tokens on a certain amount of matches, and after that, they're useless. And that I thought was a very interesting choice, but I don't think a successful one. Right?
Yeah, that sounds bad.
Yeah, because basically, as you'll read in the article, I said, okay, well, I can now do the math. This is my earn rate, because I'm not that good. This is how much it would cost to buy the hero, and I calculated at the price when I wrote it that I would have lost basically 40 cents every time I played, and then at the end of my run with that hero, I would have a useless NFT that I can't sell to anybody else because it has no more earn rate. So if I was at the company, my design choices would have been different, right? I think they were probably trying to set up a system where players need more than one hero, that they don't just want to sell you one NFT ever in your lifetime. And so I would have, I would, if this were my game, I would do much more extensive changes than the ones I write about in the article. But just some simple stuff would be no lifetime limit for a hero, and limit each hero to a number of daily matches. So maybe a common hero gets 1 token match per day, and an uncommon gets 2, and a legendary gets 3. So that way, I'm not able to play with one hero all day and earn token. If I want, each match is 3 minutes long. So if I wanted to play for 8 hours, I would need a giant stable of heroes to play through. So I would need to own a couple, 100 really to cover that much playtime. And then you just limit the earn rate per day, or the number of token matches per day. So that way you're not just using one hero over and over, but those heroes would then retain their value, and it would be able to sell them on the secondary market. So I would basically pair those two changes with constricting the supply of heroes. Right now there's an unlimited supply of NFTs because every time you open a gacha box, it mints a new one. And I think, that it's like trying to focus the purchase energy into buying new heroes, and I don't think it's working. Or I don't think it'll work long term.
What do you think, Javier?
So I think that the game does something that is very interesting, and it's actually what allows them to be compliant, which is the fact that they have isolated the play-to-earn and the blockchain element from the rest of the game. So actually, it is possible for a player in this game to play and never interact at all with the blockchain. You obtain the currencies that you can use in the game, but unless you do a step that it's done through an external website where you connect your wallet and you actually extract those currencies and transform them into cryptocurrencies or their cryptocurrency equivalent, you are playing a totally non-blockchain game, which is cool. It means that even if you don't invest, you can play a little bit, earn a little bit of currency, and then sell it on the marketplace, and maybe you have made 20 cents. Great, just for playing. That's more than maybe other games gave you, right? But so I think that when it comes to maybe the general player or the casual earner, it's nice. But I find that the perspective of a player that it's actually a serious earner or even an investor that really wants to buy an NFT and so on, I find the model doesn't work too much. Like Ethan said, it has a component of, you could even say, gambling. So if you have a very good win ratio, you're going to earn more than what you invested. But if you have if you're a normal person, a normal level of skill, you're probably gonna lose. You're gonna get less than what you added, which is interesting. I mean, definitively makes the system sustainable, but not very enjoyable, because it means that in order for a small percentage of players to be happy, the rest are losing and they are subsidizing the entire model. And for me, that is problematic. I find that the game follows a different approach than what I would follow if I had to adapt a free-to-play game into play-to-earn, which is, if I had to do that, what I would make is that players generate the hard currency in the game and they become retailers for other players for the game, for that hard currency. This is not what this game does, because actually to grade your characters you need to spend
I have a job opening for a can I send it your way?
I'm not interested. But my point is that in order to...
Sorry, that was a very... I agree.
In order to grade your characters, you need to spend their hard currency, THG, and power points, which are similar to the power points in Brawl Stars. But you cannot earn that currency through the NFTs. You earn a very small amount. So really, if you want to grade your characters and therefore be able to win more and so on, you need to buy that currency from the marketplaces and from other places, but you cannot earn it through NFTs. And for me, that kind of breaks a little bit the point, no? Because at the end of the day, the way they have structured the economy, correct me if wrong, Ethan, but it kind of seems to me it's like I spend a lot of money to get an NFT. I spend a lot of THC to get an NFT, and then playing with that NFT, I obtain more THC, which allows me to buy more NFT. So it's kind of a loop that I have to spend a currency in order to obtain more of that same currency, but the points like upgrading and so on, where other uses of that have value and that I would like to be as a play-to-earner, I would like to be a retailer for other players, I am not able to grind that second currency. And for me, that defeats a little bit the purpose. No, it moves it too much into gambling, and in general, I find that from the perspective of a player that is an investor or a pure play-to-earner, it's a bad deal because they are subsidizing the whole operation.
Yeah, I kind of suspect that in order to actually earn out on your investment in NFTs, you probably need to be playing as a team all the time with the same person and both you at high skill level. Because if you were coordinating with somebody, if you were in the same room with someone or if you were on voice chat with them, you would have an advantage over probably 90% of the players. And I think that's probably the only way to guarantee a win rate high enough to actually profit. But again, the daily limit of how many matches you can play, it would be hard to make, it feels like at the end of 50 days, you might net $200 on an NFT if you're playing really well. Like $200 spread out over 50 days, I think still isn't that much in the tier 2, tier 3 countries to make that much of a difference. So I don't know. It feels like.
So what's the meaning of this? Like, what's the meaning of the blockchain if it doesn't give you that same type of earning potential?
Well, I think if they were able to increase the price, the market price of the tokens, it would change the economics of it, right? Like earlier in the game's life, when the price was higher, lower skilled players could make more of an earn out and more of a profit. And so I think the challenge is if you're constructing a play to earn game, how do you maintain the value of your token? I mean, it's something that Axie is struggling with right now and made a bunch of massive changes that dramatically reduced the earn rate of SLP and has increased the price, the market price of it as a result.
How would you compare the tokenomics of this game and the overall implementation of blockchain elements compared to Axie's? Is it better or worse? Like, we know the problems with Axie. It's just,
I think it kind of suffers from the same. I mean, it suffers from the same problem. I wouldn't point anyone to Thetan Arena and say this is a sustainable game economy. You can copy this. And honestly, like when I used to be a free-to-play consultant, that was basically the job. Saying like, your game is kind of like Mobile Strike. Here are the systems in Mobile Strike that turn into a sustainable economy that monetizes. Go copy that. Or your game most resembles, Dungeon and Puzzle and Dragons. So go copy these systems and these loops from Puzzle and Dragons. That was what my job was as a consultant, essentially. And so far in blockchain, we don't have any answers. I don't have the, hey, go copy this. And a lot of companies are essentially copying Axie and basically leading to economies that have the same problems as Axie.
Yeah, I would say that what they have in common is that both suffer currency inflation. It's just that they have added the element of a maximum cap that you can earn on your characters that is influenced by the battle. So they have added the competition element to diminish the earnings, but they both have the problem of inflation, no? And I feel that this is what it's making their THC token in particular go down constantly, even after they have removed being able to buy with the Binance token. The THC still goes down, and I find this is because there's a massive influx of THC being injected in the system. Yeah. So I actually think that although obviously having inflation on those currencies was a side effect, maybe not desired, but it allowed, on the very early stages of both games, it allowed them to become very popular because you were generating revenue out of nowhere, right? The problem is that at some point that catches up with the liquidity in the system. Yeah. Then you realize, well, we were not creating money from scratch. It was actually we were draining the liquidity, and the token actually is lowering the value. Right. I to be honest, while writing this article, and this is one of the reasons why I haven't gone like super kilometric on it, is I changed my point of view on this game several times, and I actually the conclusion that I've reached is that depending on the perspective from where you judge this game, it's good or not. I find that for the developers, it has been great, incredible success. They are making more money than ever. For the casual free-to-play player, it's great. It's a fun game that they have been able to discover, and they even can earn a little bit. But then, for the pure pay-to-earners, people that invested real money into it, it kind of seems like an unfair deal. They are subsidizing the whole operation, and seems a little bit not fair. That's not to say that the game has problems that cannot be solved. I think that's similar to Axie. They can do changes and eventually turn it up, but right now the economy, I think it's a bit broken, and that kind of also makes it a disappointment to me as a game developer, because although this is a great case study and so on, I feel it's a lost opportunity, no? That they could have maybe pushed the model into generating something that other people could copy, and this is really not, as Ethan said, it's really not the solution to the problem, but it has, I feel, insights that could lead someone else to go to reach the solution. Perfect.
I will pretend that I understood everything, but I will have to re-listen to this about 3 times. One question that is apologies. One question that is very interesting is, like, how are they running this game on iOS and Google Play, despite this being a blockchain game? So I know based on the article, they are not circumventing. They have essentially 2 different ones. So Ethan, tell me.
If you download the game on the App Store right now and you play it, you will not see the word wallet. You will not have the ability to connect your wallet. You will not see a marketplace. You have no links inside of the game out to the marketplace. You wouldn't have any clue that this was a crypto game if you didn't come in with that knowledge. So there's no mention of crypto. You're not actually using tokens in the game. The reason they call it GTHC, right, is game THC. THC is the actual crypto token. And to turn your game THC into real THC, you have to do a process outside that includes paying a tax. So essentially, they have walled off all mention of the crypto elements from the actual game client. And you have to possess this knowledge or be a member of the Discord or find out organically outside of it. And at least right now, that appears to... and this isn't the only game that does that. This appears to be the acceptable way to get blockchain games onto the App Store and onto the Play Store. And I think the unanswered question is is this an actual sanctioned policy? This is the way to get a blockchain game onto the stores? Or are none of these games big enough to come under regulatory scrutiny from the platform holders, right? Like, I think Thetan Arena, Upland, and others, for all we know, are at danger of being rejected any update without changing anything, right? You could upload an update that changed the splash screen and get rejected because it was reviewed with a different set of eyes than it was before. So right now, I would put this into the category of loophole, gray area, and not something where we're like, yes, we have an answer from Apple, and this is how we do blockchain. This is how we do, blockchain on Google Play. It's certainly the model I'm looking at in the mobile version of LHU, but we're developing LHU as a cross-platform game, and mobile is right now slated to be the final game client we build for these reasons, because it's a gray area, and we're kind of trying to see how it shakes out with Apple and Google.
Interesting. So, but you would still recommend this way of operating, so essentially putting in a free-to-play version out there. But with Apple allowing you to do purchases outside your store, wouldn't that be able to kind of lead them to a store that does have in-app purchases, but also could offer a little bit of that NFT magic?
Yeah, I'm not sure, and it's not it's not two different versions. It's basically like they've taken the Connect Wallet button out of the game client, and they've taken a link to the marketplace out. So it's basically they've just like removed mention and links to anything related to the blockchain side of it. So it's not two whole different game clients, basically.
Understood.
And again, I mean, another reason why I'm saying, like, personally, we're taking our time with it is because even the issue of how to do payments for a IAP game on an external website is still being litigated, and the policy isn't 100% clear. As far as I know, it's not necessarily as simple, because Seifer talks about this all the time on Twitter, right? Like, it's not clear yet how to implement off-platform purchases for Apple, and the way they want to do it doesn't actually seem to, I don't know. I think it's still being litigated, so.
Got it. And overall, just to close it, so for folks like you guys seem a little bit tired. Ethan, it's probably 5 a.m. over there.
It's 6:20. I got to go start getting people ready for school.
Exactly, and I arrived yesterday from a business trip late in the night, so we're kind of slowish, unlike Mr. Javier. So let's close this down with you wrote a beautiful article on this, and folks, please do read everything multiple times because it's quite deep as always. But is this a successful game, and how would you improve it? Because people will be reading this and they'll be trying to figure out what should they do differently, what should they do better, what's the 1.1 version of this. So Javier, let's start with you. How would you improve it?
I think what people should look about on this game is how they have used blockchain and play to earn in order to give a second life to their project. They should probably be taking a look at what has been the distribution on revenue, what has been especially the distribution of downloads, and which countries they have attracted. And I also find that on the specifics, this separation between economy, big chunk of the economy happening outside of the blockchain, and then just the trading part, like a very small part of the economy happening in the blockchain. I think it's great. I think it overrides or avoids a lot of the challenges of the blockchain, which is the speed, fees, environmental challenge. A lot of those challenges are avoided in Thetan Arena because the most part of the economy is happening outside of the blockchain, and it only interacts on the blockchain when it needs to for the trading. I think those are key learnings that we can extract. Then my points, if somebody was going to do a similar project, is that when it comes to game economy, that has to be rebuilt. The model that would work in my head is that a free-to-play game trying to become play-to-earn game needs to make the play-to-earners their partners. Instead of selling directly the hard currency, the players, the earners, need to be the folks that grind and generate the hard currency, and they sell the hard currency to other players. So I find it's more like finding a partnership, and that's how you could make it sustainable. I find that right now the model that it's there, it's more like similar to gambling, and really it doesn't feel fair for the players because the actually very valuable stuff like upgrading is sold. The only ones getting profit out of that are the developers.
Well, folks, there you have it. This was like a quick 1 hour discussion on the beautiful article that you guys wrote. I'm going to listen to this again because I felt like a dummy, and I'm also running a little bit slow today. But that's good that we recorded this conversation so I can go back to it.
Unlike me, who re-listens to every episode because he's purely an egomaniac.
Oh, you do that?
Well, I'm trying to make sure I'm not saying anything that'll get me canceled. Like, was my joke funny enough? I don't know.
Well, we should then delete the vaccine episode we did.
that one's going in that one goes behind the paywall.
Yeah, we should really do an episode on geopolitical situation at the moment and stay in our lane. Offer some advices from the perspective of an ignorant
ready
game
to go
developer.
Joe Rogan over here. We got to stay in our lane.
Anyways, to everybody everywhere, have a great rest of the day, and love and peace. That's all we're here for. So on that note, thanks for listening. Javier and Ethan, thank you so much for writing this beautiful article and for making a dumb person like myself just a little bit smarter. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.